All-time highs and beyond might be on the table for Googl. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Way Up Trading. Now today I want to go over what the play of the day wound up being. None other than Googl, Googl. Fantastic play that was taken today. Made some great gains on that particular one. We were able to catch that one in advance, caught the move at open after our 4th of July break. Was able to look at some of the charts, see where we stood, and capitalize on a nice move to the upside. Roughly about a 3% move on the day, about a 1.54% close. Fantastic play, just using some of the basics of technical analysis as well as where we stood momentum wise in the chart. We were able to snag a nice banger, roughly 165% move on the play, and some longer dated calls as well that wound up doing some great numbers. A lot of upside I still see on Googl. So we're going to go over the play step by step, take a look at what other opportunities are available, as well as what I see in store for Googl going forward into the next couple of weeks. We're going to do all of that and more right after this. Now I want to start this video a little bit differently than what I normally do. And basically, it's something that I learned a little while ago that relates to just how success actually winds up unfolding. It's not the overnight success that you may see glorified on television, glorified in media and on social media. Things take time, and it's a lesson that I learned a long time ago, and I've always kept it to heart. And it's a saying by the partner of Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger. If you don't know who he is, somebody you definitely want to pay attention to going in the future. Very smart man, and he said this: step by step, you get ahead, and not necessarily in fast spurts. But we build discipline by preparing for the fast spurts. You slug it out one day at a time, and in the end, if you live long enough, most people get what they deserve. Fantastic quote, something that I actually love to apply to how the markets work and how you stay true to something and actually use what you've learned. You're focusing on getting 1% better, a little bit better every day, and in the end, it all adds up. Stay true, stay with it, you'll get what you deserve. All right, here I got the 1 week chart pulled up here for Googl, Googl, to get a wide angle view of exactly what I see here on the stock. We actually have been in a particular pattern that we have seen time and time again in the bear market start and going on into what we are having as the recent term bull market that we're in. And it's a trend that continuously plays itself out. I have mentioned this particular pattern several times in the past. If you're not following me on Twitter, make sure you follow me there. I do post a lot of key quality information about how the stocks move, as well as some charts that I look at in order to kind of get an idea of what you can expect going forward. And this is no different. We have seen this particular pattern play out multiple times over and over again on the SPY, on the QQQ, on Tesla, which has been on an absolute tear lately. And this one is exactly in the same predicament. It's the descending broadening wedge on the weekly time frame. And taking a look, you can see that this particular pattern has played itself out where it has a downtrend, a broadening downtrend, and a midline that gets respected multiple times over. And you can see how this is played on both ends back from the end of 2021 when the stock started, pretty much all stocks started to fall in preparation for the quote-unquote recession that was taking place at that time. All stocks starting to come back down from their recent highs. Googl, you can see, was roughly at about 151 as its highest high at that time, which is roughly about November of 2021. Things started to play to the downside. We got a breakthrough of this midline that was formed, waterfalled all the way down to about 102, got a retest of the midline, and then hit our lowest low point, roughly about 82 bucks. Things started to turn around from there at the end of October, which was the lowest low, October 2022, until we started making our way back up. We got a break of that midline in March of this year as things started to turn around with the overall market. Broke the midline, came back, retested this midline, formed a bull pennant of some sort here in this area, roughly at about the beginning of May, with a huge breakout. You can see this candle just pushed right through, breaking the descending broadening wedge, and are now back for a retest of the breakthrough of this descending broadening wedge, forming another descending broadening wedge. We're going to zoom in a little bit closer, forming basically another descending broadening wedge or falling wedge to retest this downtrend. We have a nice bounce with a high volume hammer candle that pushed it after it broke through slightly, roughly at about $116.33. Pushed it right back out, and now has rebounded in order to push the next level. This particular pattern plays out every time where things rocket to the upside after this retest of the wedge. A lot of stocks are in it, even some of our beloved stocks. We'll leave that one for another time. However, this move was able to be seen just by the basics on the weekly time frame of this particular stock. Now, real quick, before moving into a closer time frame to get another look, something I want to draw attention to. And just taking a look here on the same Google chart, the monthly time frame has recently gotten a cross-up of the MACD above the signal line. We have a cross-up of our moving averages and also a cross-up of the histogram. After months and months of downtrend, downside, we have now flipped into bullish territory, which leads us to believe we have not been in this bullish territory since roughly about the end of 2022, about April of 2022, when we actually had the downtrend. Things moved back up and are now moving into bullish territory. Based on this solely, I was able to go ahead and pick up some calls that were longer distance and longer time frame on Google. I'm moving here to the 1 hour time frame. I actually used a 23-hour just in order to see the continuation of the moves in the after hours time frame. However, this is basically just showing you what in the short term. I just showed you a few minutes ago how it looks on the weekly chart. We have retested this yellow line, which is basically the downtrend of the descending broadening wedge on the macro time frame, and it is now formed this falling wedge setup. We have the red downtrend here, as well as the this green support line on the opposite side. You can also look at this as if you look at the white these white lines here, you can see this is also technically forming a bull flag, or you can look at this in a different perspective where this may be another descending broadening wedge. All of these different patterns are basically showing bullish continuation, just a reaccumulation of the shares in this area. After we got our bounce on high volume, we're starting to move back into territories above this area, and we're looking to start to play the upside. Once this breaks, find support somewhere around that $123 mark, which is where we picked up our calls. Right now we're sitting in calls for 123 and holding those into the next couple of days. There are 123 calls for 7/14 expiration date, and they did very fantastic today. And I don't think this move is over. I see a lot more upside going into the next couple of days. However, we got this reaccumulation style setup. We're looking to hold support roughly about the $23.06 once we break this downtrend, which is this red down line I have here. You can see as of today, again, this is the 1-day chart. You can see as of today, we got a nice green candle here after hitting our high of about 122.55. which broke this ascending triangle that we had set up here. This purple and yellow, this yellow line of the uptrend and this purple support line was broken today after holding the midline quite nicely and pushing through, breaking again this white line, which is set up as the bullish channel that we're in, and looking now to break up to the upside. Hole in this area held above our level that I have here, roughly at about 121.68. Held above it nicely in order for reaccumulation to most likely push from here into this level, break up and hold roughly about this area, about a 123, so about 123.06, before pushing to this next resistance line that I have here at about 125.50. Would be the area I'd be looking to play after this particular move. I alerted this move to the team in advance, the Way Up Trading Group. If you're interested in taking a look at the Way Up Trading Group, we have a lot of good traders in there that are learning, growing, getting better day by day. Link is down in the description. We put out tons of good plays and get the opportunities to win together. We grow our knowledge base and we make our way up on different plays, different opportunities that are presented in the stock market. Free trial is available for the first 2 weeks. Consider taking a look at it. Link is down in the description. Now this is the hourly chart here. This is basically the details that I sent out to made sure we sent out to the team in advance in order to take advantage of the play this morning. Again, we talked about it a few minutes ago that we were retesting the area above the descending broadening wedge. You can see these blue lines are going to represent our trading range that we've been in and we're trying to break back above, which was clearly able to be done today after moving into this, or breaking out of this ascending triangle that we had after the lows on the 27th of June, breaking above it, retesting and getting it back above that descending broadening wedge top, which is that downtrend yellow line we talked about a few minutes ago, breaking the falling wedge, which took place today in a nasty fashion. Huge move on volume early on in the morning, and just pumped right out of this thing in order to get towards the levels we were looking for, breaking all of our support levels, which I had at about $20.09, 121.29, 121.68, and then touching one of our top levels here at about 122.55 before retracing and finding support above my last line of support here of 121.68. Now here on the 30-minute chart, we're taking a closer look to see how my order blocks turn on so you can get a clear idea of where the buying pressure was located and where the sellers are located. Clearly, you can see that the green boxes are going to be my buy areas where buyers usually step in. And a lot of us had the same idea. Purchasing in this particular spot was going to be the place to do it. As you can see, we were riding this purple uptrend of this rising wedge or ascending wedge that we had set up here. Perfect opportunity because of the confluence, perfect opportunity because of the potential to break the downtrend right in this location. So you see several orders were just waiting for it. Everyone who was watching this chart had the same idea, and they all rushed in and they pushed this thing literally up and out of this area, breaking the resistance, this yellow line here, and then you can see where all the sell orders are waiting, just about that 122.55 location. It would have been a little bit harder to see on just momentum, so it really came down to charting, seeing where things were in terms of the location of the move, the most recent moves, as well as the support and resistance line. That's what made this one possible. Could you have played this in momentum? Absolutely. Could you have played the crosses, the 921 cross, the 1348 cross, the golden crosses, the crosses that we consider and usually consider on the channel? Could have been used, but there are other things you want to take into consideration sometimes, and this is one of those cases where actually charting the move in advance was what helped. But either way, outcome is income. I got the 5-minute time frame pulled up here on Googl, Googl, and just taking a look at this thing. I'm gonna move in really close because this move happened very quickly. It's not something that you may have been able to catch unless you were really charting this thing and understanding how things could potentially move based on the chart positioning. However, looking at this, the 921 cross, the 1348 cross, all happened within a few seconds of each other, maybe a few minutes at most. This is the 5-minute chart that I'm on, and you can see that we got this huge volume spike in the morning. It wasn't really able to be seen in the pre-market. You may be able to argue that there was a nice hammer candle that started to show itself here roughly about 5-10 minutes before the market opened. However, this push here just was right at open, and once the volume came in at open, it was pretty much ball game. We jumped into the calls immediately, expecting this move to actually happen because of the influx of volume knew was coming at open. So I posted this out, printed it out to the rest of the team, let them know that, hey, this thing is going to move. Make sure you get your positions in place, and we did just that. Once we broke through the 1955, I believe we entered in our calls right after we crossed again the smooth moving average, which shows itself up several times. If you've been watching the channel, smooth moving average is one I recommend adding to your charts. It's a very good indicator to give you an idea of whether or not the stock is in bullish or bearish territory. You can see once we crossed above it with all our other additional supporting crosses, the 921 and 1348, both of those above the 200 moving average as well as the 200 exponential moving average, the EMA. Once we got that cross, it was pretty much game time. This thing just continued to rock it up. 3% move. We caught literally all of it. This was 165% play just from open right into the top before we started to see a break in momentum and coming back down and just flagging here for a period of time into close, kind of holding its particular location. But you can see the break here was the time that this break of the 9 EMA was the perfect time to exit. Either way, you would have still been up well over 100% just on this one push on your investment, and that's exactly what wound up happening. Team was happy. It was a great moment, great entry, great exit. We're still holding on to runners because we do like to trim our positions and trim our profits and take our profits on the way up. So we keep our runners, let the runners run, pocket the profits, and that's how we operate over here in way up trading. So this thing right now is basically in a flag setup and just kind of holding its area. In after hours, you can see that there's some upward movement happening, but I don't think this move is over yet. Opportunity is huge. Again, I showed you the monthly MACD moving upward for the first time in months. That tells you that this thing is not done moving. You may get your pullbacks, you may get some opportunities to the downside if you're playing short, but that monthly cross should be all you need to be concerned with. I would say this is a very good time to go long. No, not financial advice. I would never tell you when to buy or sell. Very good time to go long on this thing. However, I would also take caution because, again, things are still not fully resolved with the rest of the main market or the rest of the economy. We got the information today on the FOMC minutes or the Fed minutes that kind of held the stock back, I believe, as well as a lot of other tickers on the market. However, it wasn't any information that we didn't already expect to happen. So I do still see continuation on a lot of the stocks that are moving. So this is not over. Great opportunity to get in, purchase, you set your stop losses, make your gains. That's what it's all about in this particular movement. It's about making money on the way up and following what's happening with the stock market, following what's happening because it's opportunities all around us. One day at a time, step by step, you get ahead, but you prepare yourselves for the fast spurts when they arrive. And that's what I got for you for the video today. If you like content like this, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, leave a comment, join us on the way up. Consider becoming part of the group. We'd love to have you at the Way Up Trading Group. We go over different technical analysis, different setups, different opportunities, different plays, putting profits in pockets, and making the outcome income for 2023. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.